This is my sketchbook where I've got some ideas for doing pictures of my brother. Here Martin is with all his equipment around him. Keyboard, dog, chickens, speakers. That's his telescope. And then there's a picture of the stone circle light, things like that. And plants, cacti, and all sorts of plants. He was a gardener. And here's another one. This is an idea for putting him in India. He always wanted to go to India. It's a way of doing it, I thought. And here he is, camping near Ayers Rock with his little puppy dog. And there he is on the Jurassic coast with the sea coming in, looking at various things he's found. Yes, they're not very good sketches because they're just me, just sketching a figure with the intention of finding pictures of Martin to put in there. I have managed to find, there's nothing, I've managed to find a few, but only a very few, I think about 4. That's about it. One of which I can't find again. It was in amongst a load of pictures we took a long time ago, many years ago. But I think I should start with either that one in India or the Ayers Rock one. I think the Ayers Rock one because I've got an idea for the sky for that. And it's a lovely colour, Ayers Rock, Uluru. So I reckon, I mean there's his telescope, you see that's what he's doing there. You see, he's gone there for some occasion or other. So I might do that one. So it's going to be a figure, but my brother's face on it. It's not going to be easy. But there we are, we'll see what we can do. Right, well, I've got a kind of sketch on here now. And I'm going to put Ayers Rock at the back here. I've got a really lovely reference for it. That might be a little bit too high. Sorry, I've got the rubber. A sort of mound shape there, and then sort of comes down, and there's a large bit there. And a bit there, and it comes down to that bit. I'm not sure whether to leave it like that or put it off to one side, but there's an absolutely stunning piece here. I love it. It's like somebody's gone along with their fingers and just made these little round sort of divot shapes. Lovely. Don't know what's caused that, but it's lovely. There's quite a few these sort of shapes here and there. Anyway, that's just an outline. Just have to go over it. It's a lovely picture, this one. It's by Julie Fletcher, National Geographic Photo Contest 2014. So if you look up that, you'll be able to see it. It's blue. I was going to do Ayers Rock pink, but the very idea that Ayers Rock can actually look blue, I just love that. The desert's going to be the pinkiness, and I might put a little tinge of pink in the sky. There's loads of sunsets, but this particular picture, they say, Julie said, was taken just before sunset. So just after the rain had been cascading down over it, and the rain had just stopped, and it's just before sunset. It's a lovely picture, but I could add a little tinge. You know, you can play with these things. You don't have to do it exactly the way the actual thing is. After all, my brother never actually got to Australia, so there we are. Yep, I've rubbed all this out because I want to shift everything up a bit, and I'm also not really satisfied or all that happy with the whatever they put on here, gesso or whatever. I don't know if they have or not even. I mean, look at the other side and it looks much the same colour, so I think I'll be safer going over it with some gesso first. It's very uneven, this wonky canvas, but never mind, it's only for me. I can't tell if that's going on or not. It's going on my fingers all right. I think I'm best off leaving that to see what happens. I've got it on one edge, but it's a nightmare. Okay. I've tried again with this. I'm still not happy with it. The proportions of the arm are completely off, and in my attempt to move the figure up, I've also managed to make it a lot bigger. I don't say I didn't want it a lot bigger, but it means it's still not right down there. I'm going to have to rub it out and try again. I think this time I might just put the Ayers Rock in first and go with that, because I'm never going to get this done if I don't get a move on. Okay, now this is about the best I can manage. Fixing the whole thing now. But this has been extremely difficult for me. I have rubbed out his face so many times. I have to wait until I'm painting it. Usually what happens when I'm painting a face, you just go over and over until you get it right. With a pencil you just rub it out, and you've still got all those lines in the way. So I think it's easier doing it the way I normally do it. So the dog's not looking too bad. Looking up at him, I'm going to have his hand somewhere here. Well, if I get the proportions right and get him looking down in the right way. And there's his telescope. I went and photographed it so that I could get it right. It's a sphinx, got a sphinx vixen stand for it with, I think, equatorial doodads on it, so it stays tracking whatever it is you're tracking. And there's a method of taking photographs, but I know that the camera my brother had, which he left to me, isn't the right camera to clip to it, so there's no point painting that in the picture. So anyway, there we are. I've got Uluru in the background here. These are those nice bit of texture I like on it. I like all the texture on it, but that's lovely. And this is what the actual picture looked like. This is blue, and this is a sort of bluey grey sky. That's a bluey grey as well. And there's mist on the top. But what I'm going to do is I'm hopefully going to add a few tinges of pink here and there. Hopefully. That's what I'm planning on anyway. So now I better start. Here we are. I am painting Ayers Rock, otherwise known as Uluru. And in the picture I've taken as reference, it's blue. It's a grey blue, so this is just an underpainting colour. Because it's blue because it's been raining, and the rain has just finished, and this is what you get to see. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to approximate the colour a bit better there, but I will eventually change that. But that's for the sky as well. I liked the sky, but I'm going to put a little bit of pink in the sky. Just a tiny touch, sunset-y sort of colours. So let's just painting the edges so that it looks like an overall picture instead of just something plonked on the top. Found a hair. Oh. Here we go, that's that lot done. I put a little bit of the mist that is visible in the photo. I put a little bit of that on this stage, which perhaps I shouldn't have, because I'll only paint over it in order to get the textures into the rock, which are absolutely fabulous. I love the textures of the rock. It's so nice. This is the way the sky looks in the photo, sort of, more or less, sort of. But yeah, I've speeded this up because frankly it's almost as bad as watching paint dry. Watching paint go on. I'm saying something, no idea what. The only bit of this whole painting I'm not really happy about is the face, because I had so much trouble trying to draw it. I gave up in the end and just used an area. And of course I've added things. This is a composite. I mean, my brother was never in Australia, neither was the puppy. They wouldn't be allowed anyway, and it'd be too expensive to take his enormous great big telescope, which is almost as tall as he is. So none of this is realistic in any fashion. So, and I've used two photos for the rock and the landscape, because the picture of the rock in the rain stopped and it wasn't enough coming towards you to cope with me putting my brother in. So, oh, and he's cooking a sausage there, but it's not for him because he's a vegetarian, so it'll be a sausage for the doggy. And there's a fire there. Now I paint over it with same colour as the desert later, which is silly, but there we are. I will adjust that no doubt later. I've been using all the acrylics I've got, and I'm using some of this matte medium. I like the matte medium because look at that, it comes out in nice little blobs, comes out just the right amount. Now all of Galeria's pots have that same thing, where you can either open it up and there's a spout for pouring, or you unscrew it and just scoop it out. Now on things like heavy carvable modelling paste, I just unscrew it because I get it out with a palette knife. But with this matte medium, it comes out just the right sort of consistency to come out in blobs, which is lovely. Absolutely lovely. Now I'm doing his jeans. And what next? Oh yes, doing the desert floor. It's not quite as reddish as this, but it's close, so it's a good underpainting colour. I can always add some other colours afterwards. Yes, maybe 400 is not fast enough. I should maybe speed it up to 600. Seems to take a long time. There we are, I'm painting everything. That's the only tube of Galeria acrylic, that raw sienna blob on the palette there. Oh, and the blue is a nightmare. That was the paint cap was actually cracked, completely cracked off, so it wasn't on, it was separate. Such a shame. I got that packet of paints at the Uluru Centre in Salalah in the Sultanate of Oman, so it's travelled quite well. Apart from that cap being missing there. Well, not missing, broken. Pity you can't buy caps. I suppose somebody will come up and tell me you can, and where from. That'd be nice. This doing his fleece. Quite a nice fleece, that. I'm never very happy with the arms, but oh well. And I'm using Hyde Park, Hey Pesto, what are the other ones I'm using? Those new ones I recently got. not Limelight, didn't use that one. But I recently got a new limited edition one from Paper Artsy. And it's got things like, here we are, Granny Smith and Trees Are Green and can't think what else. I used Hyde Park and Hey Pesto as well, just to mix up the colours. Trees Are Green is quite a nice pale one, and I think I might have used another green, one of the non-Paper Artsy ones. Not sure, might have done, might not. The Spring Green, didn't use that one, was not dark enough. Oh well. Then the next bit, of course, is I'm going to do his head and cap, and I'm going to do it completely in the wrong position because I want to change the position of the head. So I'll be going over that later. Just try and get some of the light and shadow in on this. I'll go over it again later. I do like doing light and shadow. It gives form to what you're painting quite well. I enjoy that. Adding a little yellow here because I want to put some of the grassy colours in the desert, and of course he's got a nice bright stripe, brighter green stripe going down his fleece just there, which I've got too wide, too thick and not bendy enough. That's better, yeah. We put his shoes in and finish off bits around some darker areas around his foot and the stick in the sausage. His hand, and then his other hand. I may change the position of the hand. It looks a bit too much like he's trying to grab me around the nose, and that's not quite right. This is the bit I absolutely hate. It's not. It doesn't work right. I'm trying to follow the colours and shades, and it's the wrong shape, and no, it's completely wrong. Oh, I should be redoing that, like I said, because his head is going to be pointing down towards the dog a bit more. So I'll have to go over all of that with nice Uluru blue. I like that, Uluru blue. Doesn't that sound nice? And some of the greenery in the desert and scrub, more like than greenery really, isn't it? There we are, doing the doggy. This is Rufus, my dog. He was originally my brother's dog. We got him when he was a puppy, which is why I put him in the picture, using one of the very few puppy pictures he took of him. So there he is, little Rufus. His coloration hasn't changed a lot. I think he's got more spots than he had there. I've just put a few in because he was just had a few on his back and on his legs. But frankly, he's got them everywhere now. Got more spots than a Dalmatian. Yeah, spots. There we go. He does look awfully Dalmatian-y when he's got his spots on. But there we are. There's a little bit I'm going to do on the what do you call it? Telescope. Because it's black and white. The telescope, like the dog, is black and white. So I haven't painted any white, just using the white of the canvas at the moment, the gesso. All these little knobs and buttons on this. This is quite an expensive telescope, and certainly blooming huge, because that long bit at the back is the telescope body, the tube, and then in the front with the legs on, that's the stand with an equatorial mount, so that you can point it at something and it just keeps following. More to come in part 2.